Hello my dear students. So this is the 8th lecture that we will be dealing about manures and fertilizers. So this is actually a part or the continuation of the previous lecture, that is crop nutrition. So we have learned in that the different functions of the elements, deficiency symptoms, and how actually the nutrients play role in the plants, right? So in continuation to that, we have manures and fertilizers. So manures and fertilizers, this is a burning topic actually, like what are the different types of fertilizers we use for different nutrients, and how about the manure source for nutrients and all. So this is actually a continuation, so let's get started here. So manure and fertilizer. So what is the difference between manure and fertilizers? Both are nutrient source only. The thing that differs in manure and fertilizer are these manures are plant and animal waste that are used as source of plant nutrient. They release nutrients after their decomposition. Okay, so manures means what? These are the waste, organic waste, like mainly from plant and animal waste. So plant waste means we can have stem over there, roots of the plant, and stalks, stubbles. So these come under plant waste. And animal waste, dung, urine, we can use for nourishment of the soil, and as well as that will be supported for the plant. So manures are plant and animal waste which are used as a source of plant nutrient. So how they release the nutrient? Only after their complete decomposition, then only they release the nutrient. And the decomposition process and the release of nutrient from such manure will be very slow. So the process of decomposition and then releasing of nutrients is kind of slower process when compared to the fertilizer. Alright, so fertilizers, what are these? These are actually industrial manufactured chemicals containing plant nutrients. So nutrient content is higher in fertilizer than organic manures, and nutrients are released almost immediately. Okay, so fertilizers are chemically manufactured in the industries. These are not the source of natural sources from the plant and animal. These are chemically produced in the factories, and these are applied in the field. Say for example, you take urea, MOP, SSP, DAP. These all are chemically manufactured fertilizers, and these fertilizers contain higher amount of nutrient when compared to the manures. Manures are organic waste and they release nutrient only after their decomposition. But fertilizers, there is nothing like decomposition. The nutrient is released immediately once it is applied to the soil. So this is the basic difference between manure and fertilizer. So here you can see like plant waste, there is rice stalks, and this animal waste. So these are manure, organic manure. And here fertilizers, so these are urea granules, and this is turf. Turf means actually grass, lawn we say, no? So that is also called as turf. So for that we use this 24011, what you see on the picture. This actually indicates the amount of NPK in the fertilizer. Like it is a complex fertilizer where we find all the two nutrients except phosphorus. We see nitrogen and potassium in this fertilizer. And now difference between the fertilizers and manure, right? So source, it is actually synthetically produced in the factories. Manures are plant and animal origin, and the texture is crystalline. Crystalline means it will have some shape, like say imagine sugar. Okay, sugar granules will be there, no? Just like that, crystalline in nature. Manure is amorphous. Amorphous means there is no proper or specific shape for this manure. And the color of the fertilizer, it will be white or light colored. Usually in manure it is dark brown, just like humus. Humus is the decomposed organic matter. And how about the composition? One or two essential nutrients mixture. That means say for example, urea supplies only nitrogen, MOP supplies only potassium, like that. So these will have only one or two essential, but manures have, they almost supply all essential nutrients for the plant. And what is the effect on the soil? Adverse effect on the soil, fertilizer, because since they are chemically produced, these chemicals react with the soil and they affect the soil biological activity. That means the microorganisms which are present in the soil, these microorganisms will be affected. But how about the effect by the manure? That will be beneficial to soil. It helps to improve the soil health. And the concentration of the nutrient. Excuse me. So in fertilizer, higher concentration of nutrients will be there, but in manure, lower concentration of nutrients will be there. So these are the basic differences between fertilizer and manure. Now, what is the role of these? Like, why do we have to apply these manures and fertilizers for crop production? So the first one is organic manures bind the sandy soil and improve its water holding capacity. As you know that the sand, which is really rough, and the water holding capacity of such soil is really poor, because the water drains out faster in sandy soil. So when we apply this organic manure, it will improve its water holding capacity. Say for example, these sandy particles are there. The water can easily pass from that sandy profile, but when we apply organic manure, these pores will be filled or occupied by the organic manure, and that's how it will improve its water holding capacity by binding. Binding means attaching, or just like imagine like gumming of the particles. Okay, so that's how it improves the water holding capacity. Second one is they open the clay soil and it helps in aeration, better root growth. So clay soil, you just imagine how the clay will be. It will be very soft. The particles are really small. So as you know that when we apply water to clay soil and leave it for some days, it will get hardened after the water is completely evaporated from such soil, right? So what happens if we apply these manures? It will open the clay soil. It helps in aeration, better root growth. Open means what happens? Again here the pores, soil pores will be occupied by these organic manures, and it helps in aeration and better root growth. As you know that without air or the oxygen, roots cannot develop properly. Third one is they add plant nutrient in small percentage and also add micronutrient which are essential for plant growth, and the microbial activity is increased, which helps in releasing plant nutrients in available form. This is form, okay, in the available form. As I told you, these organic manures, they contain small amount of plant nutrient, also micronutrient. So when organic manures are added to the soil, these microbial activity will be increased. Okay, these when microorganisms in the soil are increased, they help in releasing the plant nutrient which should be made available to the plant. For example, you say here bulky organic manure like FYM, that is farm yard manure. Farm yard manure, this is actually a combination of cattle urine plus the dung, that is FYM. Okay, compost from organic waste, night soil. Night soil means human waste, human excreta, sludge, sewage, sheep folding, green manures, concentrated organic manures like oil cakes, blood meal, fish meal, bone meal. I'll explain you what are these things and how they are applied. Okay, so just imagine that when these are applied to the soil, the nutrients from these items will not directly be available to the plant. It has to go through some processes like decomposition of the manure, and after decomposition some microorganisms have to act on those manure to release the nutrient from these manures. Alright, next one is organic manure should be incorporated before the sowing or planting because of slow release of nutrient. Say for example, if we are planning to go for planting on June 15, if we apply this organic matter in say on the same day like June 15, then what happens? The nutrients release will be very slow. By the time the seed germinate, nutrient has to be made available. But if we apply these organic manures on the same day of sowing, what happens? The nutrient release will be slow, and that released nutrient will not be available for the germinating seed. That is why it has to be these organic manures have to be applied to the soil, say 15 days before sowing or 20 days before sowing, because the decomposition process is really so slow and release of nutrient is also really slow. That's why, so to make that nutrients available to the plant when it is germinating, organic manure have to be incorporated before sowing operation. All right, next one, fertilizers play an important role in crop production as the nutrient elements in fertilizer are present in higher concentration and in forms which can be readily utilized by the plants directly or after rapid transformation. Unlike organic manures, fertilizers release nutrients very fast and also they contain more higher amount of nutrient element. Alright, so that is also one of the important role, because plants need nutrient immediately. So as and when we apply fertilizer to the soil, that will be made available to the plant immediately, and their dose can be adjusted to suit the requirement as determined by soil fertility evaluation. You must have heard about soil testing and all. So what they usually test, they test about the pH of the soil, electric conductivity of the soil, they evaluate the amount of nutrients present in the soil. So based on that, farmers will be recommended by the scientist, okay, this much you have to go with the nitrogen application, this much you have to go for potash. Likewise, fertilizers applied through straight fertilizers means which contain only single nutrient, say like urea has only nitrogen about 46%, okay, or complex and mixed fertilizers which supplies two or more nutrients. That means complex and mixed fertilizer means they have two or more nutrients, whereas straight fertilizer means which contain only single nutrient. So we can go for either straight fertilizer or complex fertilizer based on our requirement. And the last one is, while application of fertilizers, following considerations should be taken into account. Okay, following means all the above consideration whatever just now discussed, those points should be remembered, and we have to go for application of these organic manures and fertilizers. Now coming to classification of organic manure, as I told you, organic manure are the plant waste and animal waste. So here we have two types of organic manure. One is bulky organic manure and the second one is concentrated organic manure. So this OM means you just remember that it is organic manure. Okay, so first let's talk about the bulky organic manure. Bulk means what? Bulk means in heavy amount or higher amount, more amount. Okay, these manures which have to be applied in large quantity but the nutrient content is less in them. Okay, bulk means what? Large quantity. So such organic manures which are to be applied in large quantity but the nutrient content in them is really less. So what are the example for such bulky organic manures are FIM, that is farmyard manure, which is a combination of cattle urine plus dung. Okay, compost can be kitchen waste compost, or it can be any other compost. Then vermicompost which is prepared using earthworms and sheep and goat droppings. That means the excreta of sheep and goat, and poultry manure, the excreta of poultry also. That is highly nutritious which can be applied to the soil. That will enhance the fertility. But we have to apply these manures in large quantity, but the nutrient status or the content of such manures will be really low. Okay, and coming to concentrated means what? While you are studying, we will say concentrate means what? You have to think about only one topic. Similarly, concentrated organic manure means it will have higher amount of nutrient, as well as it can be applied in less quantity, just the opposite of bulky organic manure. Those manures which have to be applied in less quantity but nutrient content is high in them, highly compared to bulky organic, the nutrient status will be more, and also it has to be applied in less quantity. So such examples are oil cakes. Oil cakes means what? After the extraction, say for example groundnut or sunflower, after extraction of the oil from seed, no, that remaining waste, that will be made like a cake. You just remember in villages and all, they make a dung cake, like they will put it on the walls to dry. Similarly, these oil cakes will be prepared like neem cake, pongamia cake, groundnut cake, sunflower cake, safflower cake. And fish meal is actually the grinded fish, what do you say, fish bones and fish blood. Blood meal means the blood of the animal will be dried, and that is used as a fertilizer. Bone meals means bone will be crushed, bone of the animal or the bird, that will be crushed, and that will be used as a manure. So these all come under concentrated, that means these have to be applied in less quantity, but these contain high amount of nutrient. I hope you are clear with this classification. If you don't understand, we can discuss. And the third one which come under this organic manure are the green manures. Green manure means what? The green plant which is directly applied in the field. So in green manure, again we have two types. One is green manure in situ and green leaf manuring. Green manuring in situ means green plant, say for example here sun hemp or daincha, these plants will be grown in the field and it will be incorporated in the same field. Okay, so 1 acre of area we have, say for example, and there we are growing this green manure. So after the some stage, when the plant reaches flowering stage, that plant will be incorporated. That means that will be dug and incorporated in the soil, in the same field only. That is in situ, means where the crop is grown, in the same field that plant will be incorporated, because that will provide nitrogen, and these are legumes, that's why they fix atmospheric nitrogen as well. Okay, so these will be grown in the field and incorporated in the same field. So such crops like sun hemp, daincha, or Sesbania rostrata. This Sesbania rostrata, which has nodules both on roots and stem. Usually on legumes, these root nodules we find, but this Sesbania rostrata, it has nodules on both roots and stem. So it can be grown in the paddy field. And next one is green leaf manuring. Here what happens, out of the field we will have some green manuring tree. We will cut the branches of green manure and then we will incorporate in the soil. That means transferring from one place to another. So biomass brought from outside of the field and incorporated into the field. As I told you, in 1 acre of area we will not grow this crop. What happened? We will go for another crop. Okay, but this green manure plant will be grown outside the plant, and the branches of such trees will be cut out and that will be brought in the area and that will be incorporated in the area. Okay, so this is ex situ. Ex situ means outside the field. In situ means inside the field. So such examples are Gliricidia, Pongamia and Subabul. Okay, and the last one is crop residues. Crop residues means we use the sugarcane trash, maize and sorghum stalk for mulching the soil. Mulching, as I told you, that is covering the soil. So this can also be used for nutrient supply. Now coming to the inorganic fertilizers. As I told you, those organic manures means those are organic in nature, that is plant and animal origin, but inorganic fertilizers are chemically produced fertilizers. Okay, so for every nutrient we have different types of fertilizers, and as I have already told you in the previous lecture that plant take up nutrient in the inorganic form. Okay, inorganic form means nitrogen is taken up either in the form of nitrate or it is taken up in the form of ammonical form. Okay, these two forms the plants usually prefer. So under nitrogenous fertilizers, we talk about the nitrate fertilizers. That means the fertilizer which contain nitrate as their component. That means nitrogen is available in the form of nitrate to the plant. So here you can see here fertilizer given sodium nitrate which contains 16% nitrogen. Calcium nitrate, it contains 15.5% of nitrogen. And second fertilizers are ammonical. Ammonical means which contains nitrogen in the form of ammonium. Like ammonium sulfate which contains 20% of nitrogen, ammonium chloride which contains 25% nitrogen, ammonium phosphate which contains 20% nitrogen, anhydrous ammonium 82% nitrogen. Anhydrous means this is actually a liquid type or sometimes gaseous, it will be in the gaseous form or liquid form. Okay, it is the highest nitrogen containing fertilizers. Okay, anhydrous ammonium, and this is used this is used for application of nitrogen in lawns and all. These others, ammonium sulfate, this can be used in rice. Okay, depending on the requirement of the crop, we use different fertilizers. And third form is both nitrate and ammonical form, both will be present in a single fertilizer. Like ammonium nitrate which contains 33 to 34% nitrogen, calcium ammonium nitrate which contains 25% nitrogen, ammonium sulfate nitrate which contains 26% nitrogen. And again in the nitrogenous fertilizers we have organic nitrogenous fertilizers. Now here you don't get confused with organic manure and organic nitrogenous fertilizer. Organic nitrogenous fertilizers means we say when carbon is the main constituent of that fertilizer, then we say organic fertilizers. Okay, so organic fertilizers there are two. One is urea which contains 46% nitrogen and one is calcium cyanamide which has 21% nitrogen. Okay, if you get any doubts here we can discuss in the class. And the fifth type of nitrogenous fertilizers are slow release. Say these urea and other fertilizers what I just discussed about, these fertilizers, once you apply they release the nutrient immediately within 3 days. Within 3 days of application nutrient will be released, and sometimes majority of the nutrient will also be lost to the atmosphere or maybe in the soil and all. Okay, so that is why these type of fertilizers are formed, that is slow release nitrogenous fertilizers. What happens, these slow release fertilizers will have some coating over them. Okay, so say for example this is the urea granule. Okay, urea granule, when we directly apply this urea to the soil, it will release the nutrient immediately and that will be lost. So what these slow release nitrogenous are fertilizers, that means they will have certain coating over the urea granules. Okay, this is urea granule, and here say for example here neem coated urea, this is the neem coating that is done on the urea granule. So what happens when this neem coated urea is applied to the soil, to dissolve this neem coating it takes certain amount of time, say 10 days or 15 days to dissolve this neem coat. After dissolution of this neem coat only the nitrogen from the urea granule will be released to the soil. That is why, that means the release of the nitrogen from the soil will be made slow, right? That is why these type of fertilizers are made. So such examples are urea formaldehyde, that means urea plus formaldehyde, and oxamide, isobutylidine diuron, crotylidine diuron, neem coated urea, sulfur coated urea. So these are the types of slow release nitrogenous fertilizers which are used. Now coming to the phosphorus containing fertilizers, here as I told you, phosphorus is taken up in the either in the form of H2PO4 or HPO4. Okay, so in this form the phosphorus is present in the fertilizer like single superphosphate, which we say SSP. Okay, double superphosphate, that is DSP, triple superphosphate, that is TSP. Why do we call it as single, double, triple? That is because of the double or triple amount of phosphorus present. You can just compare here. Okay, in SSP it is only 16%, whereas in DSP it is 32, and in triple it is 46 to 48%. And another one is ammonium phosphate, which has 20% of phosphorus. Okay, so whenever the percentage of phosphorus is given, it is already given almost every time it is given in the form of P2O5. Okay, you don't get confused why it is given and all. You will learn slowly. You just remember that phosphorus is always written in the form of P2O5 in the fertilizer. Now coming to potassium containing fertilizer, just like phosphorus, these also have potassium in combination with other nutrients like potassium chloride, or which is also called as muriate of potash, which we call MOP. Okay, potassium sulfate or sulfate of potash, which is called as SOP, potassium magnesium sulfate, and potassium sconite. So, and here also you can see that the potassium is always mentioned in terms of K2O, not just K. It is mentioned as K2O, just like phosphorus. As phosphorus is mentioned as P2O5, potassium is mentioned as K2O. Okay. Now coming to some micronutrient fertilizers like copper sulfate, zinc sulfate, borax or sodium borate, manganese sulfate, ammonium molybdate, ferrous sulfate. So these are the different micronutrient containing fertilizers and their percent nutrient in them. Now coming to the biofertilizers. Fertilizers means, as we learned, those are chemically produced nutrient providing some substance. Biofertilizers means what? These are organic living organisms which provide nutrient to the plant. So in biofertilizers, the first one we have biological nitrogen fixers. That means those legumes, just like legumes, which fix atmospheric nitrogen in them. Okay, so in that different associations are there. Symbiotic association, that means symbiosis means, say for example, this rhizobium and plant are connected. Okay, so this rhizobium bacteria will provide nitrogen to the plant, whereas the plant will help in supporting that rhizobium bacteria. That is mutual, like I help you, you too help me. So that is symbiosis, helping each other. So that is symbiotic association which is present in rhizobium. Another like non-symbiotic association, that means that is free living. It is not going to attach with any plant, or it is not expecting any help from the plant. So such example are Azotobacter and associative. Associative means only plant gets the benefit and not the microorganism. So such like Azospirillum. And blue-green algae in azolla, you must have heard about azolla, which is applied in the rice field. So what happens in the cavities of the azolla is a fern. Okay, you must have learnt about this plant kingdom, animal kingdom, and you must have learnt about the fern. So azolla is a fern, and in the cavity of azolla, this Anabaena azole, that is a blue-green algae. Anabaena, which is in association with azolla in rice field, and it fixes nitrogen in leaves of azolla, and this azolla can be incorporated as green manure in paddy field. Okay, not only just the roots help in fixing the nitrogen, also the leaves of the fern help in fixing the nitrogen. Okay, and actinomyces form association with plants like casuarina and fixes nitrogen. These are some just examples. Okay, so you just remember which is symbiotic bacteria, which is non-symbiotic, which is associative symbiote. So likewise, so this was about the nitrogen fixers. Now coming to the phosphorus solubilizers. phosphorus solubilizers means what happens when phosphorus or P fertilizers are applied to the soil. This phosphorus which is present in the fertilizer, it will get attached to the soil particles and it will not be available to the plant. Okay, so that which is attached to the soil particle, it has to be solubilized or it has to be made available to the plant. So such microorganisms which help in moving or mobilizing the phosphorus which is attached to the soil particles are called as phosphorus solubilizers. Okay, fixed phosphorus means which is attached to the soil particles. So this has to be made available to the plant. And example like phosphorus solubilizing bacteria. So that is one bacteria which help in solubilizing the phosphorus which is attached to the soil particle. And this is the nutrient consumption in the world, how it happens, like per hectare basis how much nutrient we are consuming. So you can see developed countries 100 or say now it has increased to 120 kg per hectare, and developing it is 50 kg. World average is about 78 kg, and you just see here India we have 163 kg per hectare. That means we are consuming more amount of fertilizer than the necessity. We are consuming more amount of it. We have to think about it, how to reduce the consumption and how we can have a better fertility of the soil. So I'll discuss in the second part of this lecture, that is about the soil fertility and productivity. Okay,